just came up with the initial approach. So, so the first version they have got it, but now they just changed it. So can you see it better now?
Yes, yes. So,
Okay. So initially, yeah, yeah. Initially, they just mentioned like the POL, PO and SPO transactions that comes into CDTS will go into these two queues in the existing model, whereas this Mystic Marvel is going to introduce these two queues and then it will send it to this NGS selector manager, and from there they'll generate this UUID and uh, will store it to safe store table, and then they'll also send this message via this inbound queue uh, to the listener, and from there it'll go for validation common API services. There it'll do the validation enrichments, and if at all this is successful, then it uh, reverts back to send the affirmation status to safe store, as well as it generates the TID and it publishes the ACNAC messages, and it sends via these queues to the code processing and egress gateway. But currently, what they are still in analysis and they are bringing up some more changes, and the latest changes is what I heard is recently, instead of CDTS to the queues and then uh, sorry for that, and then flag format and this NGS selector manager, so they have decided to take it from CDTS table itself and also from this stage. So this queue still uh, exists, but these are different queues, and it goes as one flat file format, and that will go to this NGS selector manager, and the rest of the format still holds the same. So basically, what we were trying to do is that the validation and enrichment part of the POs and SPO transactions. So whatever comes in from the client, they were able to capture it and they were able to send to these listeners and do the validation and enrichment, and then they can store it in the safe store table. So I have heard like partial of these are already in place with Supercharger Squad. So we are not sure like what's there and what's not there and what we have to focus, or how it is being currently executed in the Supercharger Squad. So from there it could see what we can reuse it for this Mystic Marvels, or what we have to do it as new for this Mystic Marvels.
okay. But yeah, so that first queue, right? NGS told one inbound queue. That queue is already exists. You're implementing that queue in this superchargers project, and we are using that queue to submitting the transaction to directly to the queue, and we fetching the transaction and store to our safe store table. This is the one we are following. This is,
So
and
is
then
the old one inbound Q01 is already existing, or message inbound?
or it's exist. It's a new. Okay. It's not existing before PIVO monetization projects. We are implementing the PIVO monetization project
Mm-hmm.
to submit the transaction directly to the queue and store the transaction into safe store table. And you guys doing the validation and enrichment part once it's reached to safe store table, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we are getting the transaction from IMS and ISO from CDTS and everything and stored into safe store table. That process is already completed. So I think you are taking that those transactions stored into a table. That that part, you once the transaction is stored into the table, you are taking and doing the validation and enrichment part. So I'm not sure what validation you are going to do, uh, but
Yeah,
if you
even we are not much familiar like what and all would be covered in the validation and
Mhm,
enrichment. So they are also splitting up validation as one part and the enrichment as the other part.
and
But
yeah.
yeah, so what we want is like just a demo or the kind of things like how or what are the channels that you do submit the POs and how
Mhm.
how it how the validations would be or at the initial levels of like what you will be
Okay.
performing in
So,
this.
before going to that part, I just seeing a diagram regarding the
Mhm,
engine selector manager. So
mhm,
that part will come after shift to table. So since
mhm.
I'm not sure how they're designing this, but in this project we are seeing after reaching the our transaction after reaching to the shift to table, after only we are giving a unique UUID, group ID, and send the listeners to select the particular transaction, particular participant ID reach to particular same listener ID. So that
Yeah.
part we're doing after reaching the shift table.
Mhm.
I'm not sure this diagram you can check with anyone who okay, you can handle it. So I can show you what we are
Oh,
doing. We are using one another separate tool is the APM6. Please schedule one more call separately. Then I will give a demo how we can submit the transaction using APM6, and then how to submit to the queue, how to do validation part and everything, and how to submit the bulk message and all using APM6 tool.
yeah.
Um, and another thing, I just explaining my project. So from initials, once the transaction reach to IMS, we have one polar job. This job is running every 5 minutes. Initially, they schedule the job to run from 8 to 4. After they schedule from 11:30 to next day 11:30. So it's running the whole day. So it's
Mhm,
running every 5 minutes. So once the transaction reach to IMS, it pull all those transactions and stored into queue using listeners which to pull those transactions to stored into Salesforce table.
oh,
So, if assume if the transaction reached to IMS, which means all those transactions are good transaction, right? It's already validated. If we give any mistake in submission, the transaction not reached to IMS. We can see the error message in CTTS, and also we can validate it. Once the all those field, if we give particular good value, then only it can reach to IMS. So all of those validation is happening before reach to IMS. Even if you take a settlement web, if you give invalid QCP ID, it's not allowed to submit those transaction, right?
mhm, mhm.
Yeah, you got it right. So only fully successful transaction only reach to IMS. So if you want to validate the invalid QCP, invalid participant ID, invalid payee, invalid reason code, invalid sender reference ID. There are more fields we have. For PPO, it's a 24 field, and SPO is a 24 or 26 fields. So none of them have a fully same fields. It's some difference in those fields. So if we want to validate the invalid test cases, for that purpose, we are using APM 6 tool to submit transaction to the queue. How we can submitting? I will please schedule one more call, which I take more time. I can show you how we can submit. And before that, do you have access for our sales store table?
Actually, I just raised for it. And
Mm-hmm.
Chiranjeevi company were new to settlement and DGCC, so they just
Mm-hmm.
got the XXIDs and DIDs and yet to receive temp password for XXID. So they are just waiting for to raise the request itself. So it
Okay. Okay. Okay
I
then.
just got
So
it
we are
from
taking.
your uh-huh,
Yeah, yeah. Please go ahead.
NGS 360, which is squad onboarding and access.
Mm-hmm.
It's complete. So from there, I just took those access and request that is required has been raised, but still I'm waiting for few of them to get granted. So how
Okay.
that's what. So we just wanted to know like how you would be accessing the safe store table, how you would be accessing the MQs. Is it via mainframes or is it a portal based one, or how things are. So
It's
that's what. Mhm.
previously we stored every tables in the DB2 table. Right now they have moved everything in the Oracle. So Oracle says everything is working. Cepstone
Mhm.
table is working fine. If you got access, I can show you. If or you want me to show now, I say take some time to. I didn't open the door. Let me open it and I will show you later. So in the shifter table, we have a source payload column. That is the input we're getting from the client. We can take that input and put it in the notepad. And which are the field we have to give invalid input, we have to give it and then we have to submit it. The one complex and tricky things are each field has some position, which is that payee field will start as 455 to 463. Next to 464 is a payer field. So if you change any of the position in this field, then we couldn't submit those transactions. So we have to be careful to submit those transactions using 186 tools. That is the tricky part. Took more time, and we also submitting another way. We are using another way to submit those transactions, which is we directly write to the queue MQQ using mainframe. We have one file. In that file, we have 300 test cases. We already maintain positions and give all those input valid and invalid. We particularly validating the amount. We have more than 50 test cases like that. We're maintaining those things in one single file and using mainframe 9.11 option. I think you might already know how to write the transaction into the queue. Directly we writing the queue. So this part is keeping the polar job running and everything. So it straightly go to a queue and in fraction of second it reach to a database. So this is the another way. Instead of using APM6 for automation perspective, we are using within a fraction of a second we can submit the transaction and we can validate those things. I will share
Yeah.
those files also if you need. But in depth, it takes some time to understand the field position and field names and everything. It might take some time. I don't know. You need to know those part or not. I will share what are the things I'm knowing. I know you can decide which are things you need to know,
Yeah,
which are things you
and
know.
basically, like, uh, it seems that superchargers are taking care of more of like uh, just change the DB from AQT to or Oracle Engineers Safe Store,
Mm-hmm.
and then you will be more of IMS code processing and those stuffs, right?
Come again, IMS code processing. So yes, right now that are all taking those transactions from that IMS and everything is stored into SIP. That part is already completed. Right now, we are moving to the next stage is IMS code processing. It's
Mm-hmm.
moving to the test to status. So right now it's the initial status, right? Next thing
Right.
we have to validate those transactions properly. It's a good transaction or not, and then we have to change the status to validate it, and then we have to check this transaction need an ad approval or not,
Mm-hmm.
like those process right now just started as a skeleton part is just started.
Mm-hmm.
So that part is in the sprint
So
only they are starting.
yeah, I believe that Mystic Marvels is doing the previous steps of those. So we are just focusing on how uh, it could be converted from CDTS to safe store table. So I guess they are focusing more on those pieces, but the
Mm-hmm.
submissions and the movement probably uh, they are.
So you're skipping the ones the transaction reached to CDTS. You're skipping that part the transaction reached to IMS. You won't directly take the transaction from CDTS. That part you are doing.
No, so I'm not sure. Are you sharing your screen for your
No, no,
for
no,
coach?
I'm not sharing.
Oh, okay. Then in that case, let me share for a
I'm
minute.
going to. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay, you can start. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So this is the CDTS NGS polar that you were able to see my screen now, right?
Right, Bhavya.
Yeah. So this is what Supercharge is currently doing, I believe. So CDTS NGS polar runs and it fetches from CDTS database and it push to the corresponding MQs through, and then it goes to the safe store table, right?
We are not fetching from CDTS, we are fetching from IMS.
You are fetching from IMS?
Yes.
Uh,
Okay. So who gave this picture to you? Is that any BA or I
so
can
this is the low level design that they have provided as part of transaction capture.
share one side document with you. So do you get access to my teams? We have one teams for one group for settlement transaction management team. If you got the access, so you can view all those files that we are already have it.
Settlement
Okay.
transaction manager. Okay. This one, right?
Yeah, general. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, this one. Do you have access?
Mm-hmm.
Okay then. Okay.
So you
You
already
go to file. Yeah,
files.
go to file.
Okay.
Okay, just scroll down. You can see the mainframe analysis something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go to mainframe analysis and click this scroll down. Yeah, here settlement yesterday on this. Okay, yeah, settlement V2 VSDX yesterday at 11:21. Click down one, down. No, down one. Okay,
Okay.
you can see it. What? So we can go through all those four settlement V2 VSDX file. You can get that clear cut idea where we are going right now.
This is not the one, right? Settlement management. This
Yeah,
is
no,
not the one.
no, this is not the one.
Okay. This one, right?
Yes, this one. Here you have many tabs. If you want to understand, you can go through each tab by tab, and
Mm-hmm.
then here you can see the tech design tab. Go to tech design. Where it is? Yes, and then you can see the picture. See, we are taking the transaction from IMS table. If you see the picture from the beginning, and you can scroll left. Scroll, yeah, here. See, taking from IMS table. This is our project high level picture. You can go through once I can show you once we're taking the transaction on IMS table. Next is mainframe client input. We have one Polar job to pull all those transactions and stored into this NGS stands inbound queue. So
Mm-hmm.
your queue is different, right? NGS. This is the one I said. NGS stands inbound queue. This is the queue we are using. Okay, let me share my thing.
No,
Let me
these
share.
are all different cues that what we. That's what. So
Mm-hmm.
this is all after IMS. So what
Mm-hmm.
we are currently doing is before it reaches to IMS. So what would be the changes they were doing is what they are talking about. So if you could see. here.
Mm-hmm.
So the IMS the IMS core processing stands here. So this is the core processing which they are talking about is the IMS. So before reaching to IMS, so they just changing these processes.
Okay.
But let's see. I'm not sure I didn't. Uh,
That was I'm asking. So I'm asking
so here
before
comes the
transaction to IMS.
validation of an API service,
Yeah, that
right?
part I heard you are the one
Yeah,
Mr.
Mystic
Marla
Harbor
team is
scope.
doing.
So this is what they have been provided. So this is the piece that they were trying to
Mm.
do it, and also this validation output surveys and bridge back to legacy systems. So these are in scope for this.
Okay. Okay. So you are taking the transaction from CDTS before it's reached to IMS. Is that right?
That's what I believe so far, but I just need to double check with them
Okay.
after understanding what you were being provided. So
Okay then. So right now we are in the initial transaction state. Service development is in progress under the validation common API service. So we are in this phase. Deliver auth service, receiver auth service. Yeah. So we are taking the transaction from IMS table. See, do you see anything here? CDTS? No, right? So once we're taking and we are stored in the session
right.
table, then the publishing that the transaction to. Right now we are going to do handling everything in a different table. The workflow activity table. We are in the stage of status changing, status checking for those transactions. Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, you can go to this sheet by sheet, Bhavya,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that you can get some diagram. You can click the core diagram. Can you just click the core diagram? It's in next one. Core. Core. Can you press? Okay, this is the one right now. We are in this place.
Oh,
Getting that transaction.
mhm,
See, we are consuming the transaction that already stored in the safe store table. Then we are starting the validation process. Since status is transformed and we are validating it's a PO and it's a sources IMDB, then it's validated. Then we're changing the status to express and then RAD approval, RAD bypassed. Right now, we are not checking if the transaction is RAD approval, it's need to RAD approval or not. We just changing the status to RAD author bypassed. So next team auth release, I think, or maybe it's the next stage. How to do RAD approval and next how to it's went to CANA, CANC, PDRI, PDARP like that. You might aware of the non-settled flow status, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, then, yeah. So this is the detailed high level diagram for the skeleton process of right now we are doing.
Okay, okay. Probably uh, mm, I'll schedule one more call on Tuesday. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
to to give us the flow, like how you will be accessing, I mean, submitting the trades and accessing the safe store table and MGS tables and the
Okay.
queue.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then
So I will show you how we are using ATM6 tool and how we are writing directly to the transaction to the queue and how we are doing validating in the SIFSO table and everything. So right now we are in next stage. So until then I can show you because otherwise the next stage will be confused to you. I can show you until it's reached the SIFSO table and how we are did validation part.
oh, okay.
And I can share the test cases file too if you need. Otherwise, it has more than 300 test
But
cases
that
in
is
the
there in
file.
ALM as well, right? So on the
Mm.
right?
Come again? I missed that last part.
No, the test cases will be there in ALM, right? Like,
Yes, yes, we are making the test cases in ALM, but that is one big story. It's a very big story. So we attached that Excel sheet and evidence and everything. We couldn't write the thousands test cases for one single story, right? So we did attach the evidence, and we do have a test data clearly. We maintaining the test data clearly.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go through every test cases. You can go through. It's in ALM. I can share some stories. If any specific stories do you want to know, I can any details. Let me know. I can share those stories and I can walk through the stories and test evidence and everything.
Okay. Okay. That would be great. And
Okay,
hope
Padma.
Brownie and Chiranjeevi, you both should also be having the access to this channel. Just do check if you don't have it and you were able to access this. Okay.
Sorry, come again. I couldn't.
No, I'm just checking with Bruni and
Okay, okay.
Chiranjeevi.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope they would also be having the access to this because I believe they have given the access to Mystic Marvels, the entire squad,
Oh,
probably. So that's
oh,
why
okay.
I would be,
Super, right?
I would able
You
to
can go
access
through
it.
each sheet and you
Yeah,
can
that's what
see the
they are
thing.
into it, right? So they can just
Mm,
grab this here and I'm just checking with him. Are
okay,
you
then.
on call? Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Yeah, so you do have access to this channel in your Teams app, right? Settlement Transaction Manager. So you were able to access these files too, right? So uh, so Monday probably you could go over this and then uh, this is what Bruni going to explain us when she is trying to demo on the Tuesday session. So probably if you could get up to here, then we can correlate what she was showing is similar to this. So we could just correlate it. Is that
But
okay?
yeah, I do have another call. So let me know is there anything you need.
Yeah,
And
sure, Lisa. You can drop off
I'm
now.
going to,
Thank
yeah,
you so much for your time. And I'll schedule one more
from
on Tuesday so that we
Tuesday.
can
That's
have
fine.
them.
So
Yeah.
sure. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day. Yeah. Bye.
Yeah.
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 Bye.
So, Chiranjeevi and Rooney, would you be able to get to here on this SharePoint? Let me ping you here too so that you can have it. So, any questions or any? Uh, I couldn't hear anyone. Is anyone there on the call?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, so I hope you both would be able to access this, right? Uh, if not, I just pinged you the link for this chart, so you can just go over it and let me know on Monday.
yeah, okay, sure.
On me too, Baba.
Sorry, Bruni, your voice is very
Okay,
low.
yeah, yeah, I'll try it. I'll try it.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Actually, my system is about to restart it automatically. In
Okay, good. Then happy weekend. Meet on Monday. Take care.
no, no, no.
Okay.
Wait, I'll just
No, if
try
no
to whether I
questions,
have
then we
access or
do not
not.
have. Mhm.
Sorry?
Yeah, that's why. So I'm sure that you both would be having access to these settlement transaction manager team. If at
Okay.
all you both do not have it, I just bring the flowchart that we just shared here. So you can
Mm-hmm.
access it from this team chat and you can go over it.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's meet on Monday then. Have a happy rest of the
Happy
Fridays and
weekend.
happy weekend.
Have a
Happy
happy
weekend.
weekend. Yes.
Okay,
Sure.
Bhavya.
Take care, Shivji. We will
Yeah.
talk on Monday then.
Yeah,
Okay?
sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Take care. Bye.